Hey everyone, I'm Laura Gadenik. I'm an astrologer and a therapist, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the weeks of March 23rd through April 5th, 2026. So today, on March 23rd, we have Mercury making a conjunction with the North Node. Mercury just recently stationed direct. It was a retrograde for several weeks, and it's been messy, foggy, confusing, maybe a little bit all over the place. We're still a little bit in that moment just because Mercury doesn't function as well as it would like to in the sign of Pisces. Mercury is a planet that wants to get down to the nitty-gritty and dissect and understand and get into the details, and Pisces is more about the whole, more about the big picture, and thinks in very non-linear ways. So it's been a little bit messy, but we're slowly moving forwards with things that we've been thinking about, talking about. We're getting a little bit more clear on maybe our ideas or the direction we want to go in, where we want to put our mental efforts. This might be about business topics. That's because Mercury does naturally rule over business. This could be coordinating with people, making plans, even changing the way you think about something, changing your ideas or your mind. Mercury does rule the mind. And Mercury made this conjunction with the North Node 2 other times. So I want you to think back to February 12th. This is the first time Mercury made this conjunction, moving in a straightforward direction. The second time was March 17th. That's when Mercury conjoined the North Node retrograde, moving backwards. And so the 23rd is this third time. So these moments are linked together. And the North Node is a sort of fated moment or fated point. Whatever happens around the North Node is important, more significant, carries more weight. And we have been having eclipses in the sign of Pisces for the last year and a half or so. And so this might be related to the changes that you've been experiencing in this part of your chart over the last year-ish, year and a half-ish. And so also, this will bring up topics related to that house where you have Pisces on the cusp. The North Node is also a point of increase, a point of excess, making things more. And so you might notice today in particular, an increase in communications and kind of a busyness energy, an increase in planning, coordinating, anything mercurial, business things. You might notice that is growing today more so than on other days. But yeah, check out those other dates, February 12th and March 17th. Whatever you're thinking about, planning, conversing about today might be related to what you were planning, thinking about, conversing about on those dates as well. Wednesday the 25th, we have the Sun coming into a conjunction with Saturn in Aries and sextiling Pluto. So we just had the Sun make a conjunction with Neptune on Sunday the 23rd, and that's important because Saturn and Neptune are very close together right now. We're in a new era of these two planets being in the sign of Aries together. Neptune is the dream, the longing, the new vision. Saturn is like, okay, how are we going to make that real? How are we going to solidify this, make this tangible? So if Sunday the 22nd, the Sun-Neptune conjunction was about highlighting a new vision or dream, something that we feel really excited about because these two planets are in the sign of Aries, a very enthusiastic, excitable, passionate sign, then Sun conjunct Saturn is about making a plan for this vision, making a goal or some sort of commitment, or some sort of plan and commitment to making this dream a reality. Let's get down to the essentials, is what Saturn says. Let's get down to the bones of the matter and really get clear on what it is we want and how do we get there. So that's a great way to use this energy. Otherwise, Sun Saturn can feel like a bit of a downer sometimes. You can sometimes notice a decrease in vitality or energy. Saturn kind of makes us go slower, be more thorough, get down to the nitty-gritty. It can be that sort of perfectionistic planet, so that's something to watch out for if you notice yourself having negative thoughts come up, or you're getting really kind of obsessed about the details or the small things. There is that, it's good to be thorough, right? We want to kind of work with the energy that we're given, and we want to watch out for some of the pitfalls or downfalls that might come along with the energy. Sun sextile Pluto is a moment of power, conviction, and drive. I think that the Sun sextile Pluto will aid this Sun conjunct Saturn moment, and it'll give us the momentum and energy to focus in on a goal, or at least to create a goal. Maybe not necessarily start, but this is a seeding moment. The Sun coming into conjunction with Saturn seeds a moment of maybe creating a plan or goal. On Thursday the 26th, we have Venus, who's been in Aries for a couple weeks now, making a conjunction with Chiron, the wounded healer. Venus represents our relationships, love, beauty, pleasure, joy, and Chiron indicates a wound, or things that feel a little ouchy, or insecurities we might have, triggers we might have. So this conjunction can indicate that we might have a healing moment come up for our relationships through being triggered, through feeling disconnected potentially. Venus wants us to feel connected. That's her main goal, is to help us become connected. And she's in detriment right now. She's in the sign of Aries, which can be a little bit more of a loner. Venus in Aries is way more independent, is not as concerned with connection. So that can sometimes manifest as maybe you having the experience of just feeling a little disconnected, or like you don't belong, or you're not, maybe, there's some sort of wound that comes up around connection and belonging and love potentially. And so, it's a moment to look at that, feel it, heal it, question the belief behind it. Is it really true that you don't belong? Is it really true that people don't like you? Are you taking something personally? Are there things that you can do differently to create more of a sense of belonging? What are the ways that you're showing up or behaving that are contributing to this feeling you're having? These are some good ways to work with this energy. Are you having a dynamic with someone that reminds you of someone from your past or someone from your family, where you have kind of an icky dynamic, or you had something painful, you had the painful experience in that past relationship, and now you're experiencing that with someone in your daily life that is reminding you of that? That can be part of what this transit is about as well. So it's a good day to be compassionate to yourself and to the part of you that might feel like you don't belong, or like no one cares about you, or the part of you that's triggered by someone else, or even if it's just like a relational sticky moment and there's some conflict that comes up, just having compassion for yourself and the other person, and maybe coming from a place of recognizing that everyone's really trying their best and no one has ill intent. And I truly do believe that. I truly believe that everyone is trying their best and doing their best. And when they fall short, or, it's not that they're falling short, it's just they didn't read my mind, or they didn't know, so communication is key there. And of course, I'm not perfect at this. This is something that I'm still learning and practicing. So also a moment of compassion for not doing it perfectly, and that's okay. Okay, so Saturday the 28th, we have Saturn making that sextile to Pluto. These are two very slow moving planets coming into connection with each other. This is really about transforming structures in easeful ways. It's kind of a longer themed moment. It's not, that's not going to happen all at once, but it's just might be a moment where you come into some sort of awareness around the structures in your life, that's Saturn, that need changing or deep transformation, that's Pluto. So just pay attention to what comes up, and it might be related to the parts of your chart that where you have Aries and Aquarius on the house cusps. And if that language is confusing to you, I also do personal readings and can explain more in depth what I mean by that. And all of this astrology that I'm giving you right now is pretty general and still can definitely be applied to pretty much anyone, but a personal reading will make it more specific to you and your life. So if that's something you're interested in, please reach out. I'm at consultation@lauragadenick.com. You can also comment in the video below. Okay, and then Monday, March 30th, we have Venus heading into her own home sign of Taurus. Thank goodness, this really helps. Venus is a planet about, once again, relationships, love, pleasure, beauty, and she really helps us feel more easeful in her own home sign of Taurus. She helps us connect to pleasure and beauty, and especially sensual pleasures, being in nature, eating chocolate, drinking nice wine, or really enjoying really good food, getting a massage. She really, in Taurus, helps us to have an easier time enjoying ourselves and creating harmony and ease. So we'll have Venus in Taurus for a couple of weeks. I think at least 3 weeks. I'm not 100% on that, but it'll be a really lovely time. It'll help aid with kind of all the chaos that's kind of coming up in the sign of Aries, or that we might be experiencing. I would say not necessarily chaos, but the whole sign house where you have Aries, there's just a lot going on in that area of life. There's Saturn, Neptune there for several years. The sun is there now. Venus was just there. We're soon going to have Mercury and Mars come into Aries. So it's just kind of like a lot of fireworks going on. It's like busy and there's just a lot of energy happening in that sign and in that area of your life. And so Venus coming into Taurus really helps us find places and ways to chill out and relax. And we definitely need that. Wednesday, April 1st, we have a full moon at 12 degrees of Libra. This is really lovely because Venus, the ruler of this full moon, is in her own home sign of Taurus, like I already mentioned. So that makes this a really, just a really lovely, pleasurable full moon. I mean, I will say Venus is approaching a square to Pluto pretty much just like 2 days later after this full moon. So there is some intensity to this full moon. We are coming to a culmination around the themes of our Libra house in our chart. So there might be something that's being revealed, something that's grown to its full potential, something that's being shown in full light, right? Because the full moon is when the moon is fully lit up. And Venus and Pluto, when they get together, Pluto is like, you got to reveal your depths. You got to reveal your truths. No secrets. We're getting things from out from under the rug. We are getting all the things out from the closet that we've put in there. We're being honest with people we're in a relationship with. And it's definitely deep. It's a deep, deep vibe. So it's kind of interesting, this full moon in Libra. Libra is very much a sign that really likes to keep the peace, keep things light and easy and, connective. And it's a sign, Venus ruled sign where it wants to provide opportunities for connection and pleasure and fun and joy. And certainly those are possible on this full moon. And because Venus, the ruler of this full moon, is approaching this square with Pluto, there are also going to be some deeper relational things that might come up to be examined or looked at or talked about. And also it's a great time to journal around what you want in relationships and what's important to you, and also just generally what your values are, what you want to be committed to. And the full moon is also just kind of a busy time, something coming to fruition or fullness once again in your Libra house. So that's happening. Then Friday the 3rd, that's when Venus makes that square to Pluto. We also have Mercury trining Jupiter on this day, which really kind of helps the energy. Mercury is the mind, communications, how we think, all of that sort of coordinating, communicating, thinking. Jupiter is philosophy, what we believe in, faith. So we might also be having really expansive conversations on this day, greater understanding of something, something's finally coming through mentally or clicking. And I say that because this is the third trine that Mercury is having with Jupiter. We had the first one on February 16th when Mercury was still moving direct. The second one was on March 8th, and that's when Mercury was retrograding. So think back to those dates and, maybe a day before, a day after, a couple of days. It's not necessarily the exact date. And think back to like, what conversations were you having? What were you thinking about? What were you negotiating? What were you debating? Have you changed your mind on some of these things? Do you have a new perspective that is more full and more holistic and more informed, perhaps? So it's a really lovely day also to think in a more compassionate way. Jupiter being in Cancer, a sign about care. So that is the 3rd of April. And then Sunday, April 5th, the sun makes a square to Jupiter in Cancer. This is also a moment of hope and optimism and generosity. Jupiter is the greater benefic planet in astrology. The only thing to maybe warn about with a sun square Jupiter is that it can bring about potentially unwanted excess, doing more than you can handle, overextending yourself, overspending, but also like that might not be a bad thing for you. That might be something that you need to experience if you're someone who's like maybe overly cautious or something like that. Generally, it's a good transit. It's a positive, uplifting energy and can help us feel connected to something larger than ourselves. All right, well, that is the astrology for the next couple weeks. Please reach out if you have questions, comments. Also, please like, subscribe. That helps my channel to grow. And I am available for consultation, so please reach out if that interests you. Otherwise, I'll be back in a couple of weeks with another astrological update. I hope you have a great day.